Hey y'all, so the framing in this first shot, I completely cut off my head. I'm so very sorry for that, but we do improve soon, so enjoy.
Hello there, beautiful people, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Alondra, and this is WhimsyDesigns. Alright, let's jump right into this video. So, I want to be a witch for Halloween. You should have just seen my corset making video, so that's going to go over this dress that I plan to wear. This beautiful layered ruffle with the tulle underneath dress is from the thrift store. I got it a year or two ago, and it was pretty tight then, but I was still able to squeeze into it. I cannot squeeze into it anymore. Between my bosoms and the broadness of my shoulders and just like the width of my torso, upper body, bust area, I'm too wide. And this does not stretch, although it literally has shirring in the back. It ain't doing nothing for me. So I need to expand this dress. Now, my thought process is that I can cut down the side seam between the front and back panel only of, well, I might want to go a little bit further beyond just the actual like bust cup area, like where your bra would be, and maybe go a little bit into the side part, because there's literally no stretch there whatsoever. And that it does hug me in like a way, but if it could just allow me to a little bit, that'd be great. And I want to basically cut it open, put a little wedge of fabric in to allow it to expand so that I can still just keep it as an over the head dress, but I can actually get it over my shoulders and not just my head. I unfortunately do not have any scrap fabric in this like matching chocolate brown color, or more so, yeah, this is chocolate. I do have this like milk chocolate colored fabric, a whole bunch of it, and it is a stretchy material. So my thought is that if I can expand both sides by 1.5 to 2 inches, that should give me the room that I need to breathe. Yes, it's not the same color, and so I'm hoping that partially because it's the side, my arm will just naturally cover it so you really won't see it, and then the intentions are with the corset that will go over this so you really won't see it at all. But I will at least be able to fit in the dress and be comfortable and feel fun and flirty and thriving. So that's the plan. Will it work? You know, say it. But we're gonna try. I'm very scared because this is more of a delicate item and it's so pretty and I'm really afraid of ruining it. But I just made a whole ass corset. So if I can make that from scratch, then I can do a little surgery on this dress. I'm definitely better with stiffer fabrics than ones that have shirring and stretch, but you know, you got to try in order to grow. Now, turning this inside out, observing this more closely, there is a actual like band of elastic at this base. That elastic ain't doing nothing for nobody. Literally, it's stretched to its fullest. And some of the shirring, you can kind of hear like the crispy, like this is definitely an older dress. I'll have to look up this brand. Connected Apparel. Interesting. Oh, they did overlock each end of these front and back pieces, and then they stitched them together with, it looks like a double lined straight stitch. So, oh God, I'm so scared. I'm so scared. I am going, oh no, there is still a side seam. I thought there wasn't a side seam once you got to the skirt part, but no, there is still a side seam, but it just runs into that piece of elastic that ain't doing nothing. So I'm gonna do some seam ripping from the top, down the edge, through the elastic, and then I'm just gonna pray. I'm gonna pray before that, and I'm gonna pray after, I'm gonna pray during. So say a prayer with me. Good Lord, I come to you on this Sunday morning with nothing but grace and thankfulness for giving me hands to work with and the patience to do this job that needs to be done. I pray that I can do this job efficiently and effectively without ruining or harming this garment in any way, shape, or form. Thank you, Lord. Stay with me in your mighty and precious name, amen. Okay. Thank you, God. to the sewing gods, universe, Mother Nature, all of you, fairies and berries and trees, geese, goose, and mushrooms, all of you, blessings up. Let's do this thing. Okay, so, hi. I have the sides ripped out, and what I've learned is that the breast cup portion of it was not really the problem. It was still a little bit tight, but not the problem. The waist, where the bust and the waistline attached, that was the problem. So now that I've ripped far enough, my other problem is that it's kind of inching into the little tie. Technically, the dress is so tight that it doesn't need a tie, but my fear is that I'm still not great at using stretchy fabric, and so my fear is that I'm going to make it too loose, therefore the tie will be necessary. So I don't know if I should just rip further enough to just completely remove the tie, insert the fabric, insert the tie inside the fabric. Now that I'm saying that, I should just do that. Okay, but here's just a look. So this is the back piece, this is the front piece. As you can see, they're connecting without any issue, and there's even still a little bit of give. So this is not the problem. Right here, this band here, right underneath it, that's the part that I could not get over my boobs, I couldn't get over my shoulders, it just wasn't just stretching. So, right here is where that tie is. And there's like 3 different layers of fabric. I thought there was just a lining in the exterior fabric, but there's actually like 3 separate layers that I have to go through. And I want this thing to be comfortable. I really do need to just kind of do it the right way. Okay, so I've cut through where the one part of the tie is attached. Okay, so now let's see. I can still kind of pull it over my boobs, but it's still pretty tight. I think we're about cut the same. It still kind of smooshes over my boobs, but I think the part that's smooshing is now the actual under bust. I think it's the very first row of layers. Yeah. So this one right here, this is what is causing the tightness around my bust. Okay, so does it mean we cut into that? Let's see if that's right here. It's about 1 inch away from where we currently are. So at this point, it probably would not make much of a difference. Yeah. I think I'll do the same to the other side. All right. We have our starting point. So yes, this is inside out and looks like terribly saggy boobs. It's quite all right. So now I'm going to take this off and cut myself a piece of the milk chocolate brown fabric to fit in the wedge from that very first little ridge up to the right underneath the armpit. And the goal, I think, is I'll do 2 inches on each side with a 1/4 inch seam allowance, which should mean that it will actually be 1.5 inches of material stretching. Yes. All right, I'll see you there. Good morning. So it's a new day, and I think I know what I'm doing for the most part. So I patched up this side. I just used a basting stitch, but it works. In due time, I want to do this again, and I want to use the proper shade of brown, just because the elasticity of it, that's great. It's fine. I don't care about the different textures. It's just the color does really make it stand out much more than I thought it would. The good thing is that the vest definitely does cover. I did test that on it yesterday. So this is side number 1. As you can see, it's not a straight line. I thought that I could make it just to like a little diamond shape. I'm not actually quite sure how this thing was constructed, but the way that it was is that the bodice front was longer than the back piece. So at some point there was some pulling of some extra material and gathering that I undid and was unaware that it was there to begin with. So it did not nicely go into just a little diamond point because it's not nice and even. So there's, honestly, this is the smoothest line that I expected. This is much more smoother than I thought it was going to be because it was rough. But now that I have an idea about what I'm doing on this side, I'm going to try to do the same to the other. And basically I start by just connecting the raw ends, lengths of good sides together of the fabric on the back piece. The back piece is straight. That one I can do. Technically I should be using a zigzag stitch because this is a stretch fabric, but I liked using the straight stitch because I know that I can easily just pull the threads out if I need to, since I did use a basting stitch. So if you're doing something like this, it's totally up to you and what you want, which stitch you need to do. I think just because I'm still like in a, I don't know if it's going to work stage, I'm going to do a basting stitch on the other side as well. But it does fit. What I did do is that this side, I used it so the stretch was vertical. Not my best decision. So now I cut a new piece to where the stretch is horizontal, so it can actually stretch around me. So my edges are pressed so that they're rolled over, so I just have more clean seams to work with, or more clean edges to work with. And I am going to start by attaching this back piece, which that one got rolled in quite a lot. Okay, so this now is going to attach to the good side of this. And for the top of the fabric, you can leave it raw just because with jersey material it is not going to fray, but I did roll it in just a little bit, kind of like a facing, just so that there's a clean line at the top. All right, enough talking. I will explain this step again in just a minute. However, in order to make the witch's hat, I took a regular adult-sized sun hat and I took some jewelry wire. You are going to want to use a thicker wire. Right now I'm using thinner, don't do that. And I'm using the holes inside of the hat in order to allow me to secure the wire to the hat. Then I made sure that the wire was tall enough to the height of the hat that I wanted, and I just pinched them at the top and twisted them and gave them a shape of the little hook that you would see at the end of most witches' hats. I then followed a blog post to get the cone measurements. I did not really follow it to a T. It didn't turn out how I wanted it to, but you can still follow it for yourself and adjust it as need be. I made a paper template and then I cut it out on the fabric. I used the actual brim itself to figure out how big I needed to cut the fabric for the brim cover. So no measurements there, just use the hat as my measurement. Once again, I did it on paper first and then I put it onto the fabric, and here I'm just cutting out the second piece. I will end up sewing the two pieces together by the brim, right sides together, and then turning it inside out so that it's just a nice clean edge. And as you can see here, I did not cut them at the same exact size. That was my fault. I don't know what I was thinking. I thought I might have needed it to be a little bit bigger. Don't do that. Make them the exact same size, otherwise you will get the ripple effect that I did. But once you do that, that's really it. You slip the two on and that's going to be your brim and your cone cover. And the last thing I did do is add a layer of interfacing to the inside of the cone before shaping it and closing that up with just a clean stitch on the inside as well. Guys, so I did not actually plan on speaking to the camera this evening, but I just wanted to kind of give you an update on what is happening. So sorry there's not much footage with the hat process. I really had and still have no idea what I'm doing, and so I needed my phone to access Google to figure out some types of tips and hints from other people making hats. Unfortunately, have not been able to find a single resource on any person that has made a cover for a pre-existing hat. they've either used like the paper cones, and I don't want a stiff paper cone, or they just make it entirely on their own, like out of felt. So that's where this contraption came to play. I saw one little like quick TikTok picture, or it was like a quick video of a woman, and she did something similar to this in terms of like the wire structure underneath. But number one, I don't have TikTok, so I just could only see what was available on this one website that had this video. And of course it's TikTok, so she did not give a full tutorial. It was just like, ooh, wire, next, hat's finished. And I'm like, so what's the in between? So yeah, but that's at least the clip of the wire. I was like, I think I can work with that. So that's where this has come into play. I did use some really thin jewelry wire, which technically is still probably not sturdy enough, and I do have a sturdier wire. I just wanted to use the thinner one because I had more of it, and it was a good tester piece. So I might still go back in with the thicker. I don't think I actually will, but regardless, in the link down below you'll find an article, and that's what I used to figure out the math of this cone shape. I still don't think I did it correctly, but I'm gonna still leave it there for y'all, and y'all can finagle it as you see fit. But I made a cone. I just put some interfacing so that was stiff, and that goes over pretty well. And then the wire underneath, I just kind of jimmy that thing up to the top. I'm able to do a little bit of this and then bend it like that. So it's, you know, it's giving shape, it's giving body, it's giving interesting. I probably will just slit the very edge of this so that that can lay more flat. But that's that part, that's the cone. And then you just saw me make the brim. I don't know if this is gonna work, but we're gonna find out. So let's see, one side is meant to be a little bit wider than the other. Yeah, I think this is the under part and this is the top. Okay, so I, in theory, made two symmetrical brim circular pieces, or donut really shaped pieces, and then I put them right sides together and then just stitch a zigzag stitch along the seam allowance, I guess you could call it. I used a zigzag stitch because this is a jersey knit material, so I wanted it to still have like the proper flexibility that it should have. Like I said, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm making this up as I go, which is why you're not getting very much footage of this part, so sorry. If you are interested, I can definitely do this again with a more thorough tutorial once I figure out what the actual heck I'm doing. But yeah, so I'm just trying to stuff the brim into this casing that I made. And just kind of shove this down. Okay. So this could use a little bit more here. Alrighty. Not the most, you know, not the best fitting, but it's on there. Hey. I'm gonna take you to the mirror because I don't know if you can see me. I don't know what I look like.
Okay. Hey guys, we're doing something. So I think I'll put a more stiff wire for this peak part so I can get like the crunch and the tip to go. I want it to be a little bit more structured in its shape up there, but we are covered. It's a little lumpy. Let's see if I use a different side. Ooh. I'm making a witch's hat, y'all. I'm doing this thing. So, I mean, it works. It do work. So I'm just going to reinforce the structure of the wire inside with a stronger wire. I know my boyfriend, he mentioned doing possibly just wire hangers and just kind of taking those apart and using those pieces. I'm going to try my jewelry wire first just because it's going to be more malleable, tangible, bendable, easier to work with. And although it's a little bit lumpy, it is kind of giving like the ripples of a mushroom. Let's see, is this a better view? Can you see? It's kind of giving like the ripples of a mushrooms, and I wanted to make little clay mushrooms on top of the hat anyway, so lean into it. So I am going to do the wire, and then I'll start making little clay mushrooms, and I think I only have polymer clay left, so I'll have to use like the whole baking method. If I had air dry clay, that would be best, but I think I'm out, or more so, it dried out. But yeah, make the witch's broom, and I still wanted to add some more life to the dress. So you can see the look. It's coming together. It's giving forest witch. It's giving, yeah, I mean green witch, yes, technically, but I'm just not wearing any green. But green witch also qualifies, but in terms of aesthetics, it's giving forest witch. But I want more. I wanted more of this like tulle, more raggedy scraps. I do have my brown still, like this brown, the extension piece brown. I can do something so that that kind of like hangs. And then I have my, oh, I threw it in the wash. I wore my corset to work. It was cute. I got a couple compliments. They were impressed that I made it myself. But that's gonna go over this too to just give some more color and life to it so it's not all brown. But I'm running out of ideas to embellish up this costume, but I want to just give it a little more life. So we will see what that looks like soon. Much sooner for you than for me, but it's coming together, y'all. It's coming together. I will see you in a new day. Good night. Good morning. So it's probably a few days later, and we are at the day of revealing this costume. So I have a party to go to tonight, and I am just making my mushrooms now. I have these little guys from yesterday, the 4 caps, the 1 stem. I'm making another stem right now. Oh, it's not the best, and I just need a log shape, so I don't know why I'm overthinking it. But I think in total, if I already have 4, maybe I want to do like 8, maybe 8 mushrooms. I'm thinking 8 mushrooms. And that way, that gives me something to work with. Which you might also notice in front of me, as I have little silicone molds. So these are meant for clay. I have some of the shapes of leaves, some flowers, and some like butterfly, dragonfly, fairy looking shapes. So I am going to try to use them in this as well. For the leaves, when I first bought these, it was really hard to use, so I don't know how far I'm going to get with them, but I'm still going to try. So I know it's going to be really thin, but I just need texture. It doesn't need to be something thick, it just needs to look different than the color brown in fabric. So that's what I'm going for. Honestly, I did not look at a single mushroom before I started this project. I looked at like some clay mushrooms, and it was just like tutorials, but the people were doing the most. I'm trying to get this quickly done. Like, I don't have time to spend hours on details and days on all of the supplies. Just, it's not that deep for me. I want this to look good, but it's not several days worth of work good. I'm just kind of rambling now. So I have another stem. I think I'll make, oh wow, something just happened. I'll make another stem and another cap out of these 2 balls. But let's actually test out this leaf mold. So I think, so my costume, main dress is done, the corset is done. Like I said last night or yesterday, I still need to do the wire, which I have the black wire here. This is just a stronger, thicker wire. I'm going to put that into the hat to keep its vertical shape. I found some raffia jute in ribbon and a doily. I might paint the doily black and add pieces of it kind of hanging off the front or the back. I'm not sure. But yeah, that's where we're at. The leaf mold did not work at all, so here's me moving on to flowers, fairy, butterfly, moth, and making my own leaf shape just by rolling it out and cutting it out. clay tour. So we have our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mushrooms, and our 2 long stems, 2 medium-sized stems. This one goes with this one. And then these little dudes are already built into their stems. I'm thinking when I actually bake it, I don't know if I should bake it just like that or separate the two. I think I'll try to bake it just like that. Then we've got 4 flowers. Some of them have some pretty cool marbling happening. We have our 2 butterflies. That one's got a lot of marbling happening. And that is all the clay things I'm going to do for now. I think I have a little green left, so I think I will try to cut out a couple leaves with just whatever is in my hand, and then after that, we will get to baking.
Hello, and welcome back to my table, full of art. So, our lovely little clay bits are hardened, our materials have been gathered, the hat has been stabilized, so now if I give it a good shake, it pops right back into the same position. Our hot glue gun is heating and starting to leak a little bit. I forgot that it does that. And yeah, so, my brain, quickly, let's go, Landra. I really want to look like I really want to look like I am living in the forest, like I am a witch, literally one with nature. In the fact that if you walked past me, you would have to take a second look because you would think that I was just a piece of tree, a piece of nature. I want to kind of be camouflaged. I'm trying so hard to stick to that because then I have these pretty jewels and these pretty black shiny beads that I'm like, ooh, but what if I'm like a glam forest witch? So I think now that I have y'all watching me, we're gonna put this idea to rest, and maybe another time, maybe another outfit. So what I think I would like to do first is just lay down a layer of some moss just around the whole brim and get it nice and close to literally like where the cone and the brim touch, just so that it's giving ground. I want woodland ground. Then I have some kind of fall looking bits and baubles here, but they're pretty vibrant. So, I may or may not use this piece of faux cotton, probably not. But anyways, I want to tone them down. Like I think these will actually be a nice pop, but this pumpkin is highlighter orange, so that's gotta go. This yellow is summer yellow, so I need to tone this down. And this one, maybe in the midst of everything, it's not as bright, so it might just provide a nice little pop, but not too much. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah. And so, I don't think I'll paint on the leaves, but I have some here if I want to like dirty some of them up. I've got black, white, and brown. Got some rough brushes. So I am going to put y'all on a time lapse while I just kind of figure this out. So please enjoy while I bring this hat to life.
To make my witch's broom, I found this piece of decor at the thrift store for only $2. It had a bunch of sticks and some fake wheat. I thought this was perfect. So here I'm just deconstructing it, and I found a stick from a tree outside. I should not have chose a stick that has this V in the middle. I should have just gone with one that was more straight. So if you do something like this, go for a straight stick, because trying to actually manipulate it and bend it to be straight just made my broom very unstable. So definitely get yourself a straight stick, but then I just attached pieces in places that I wanted them until I got the desired look. Let's do a quick wrap up. My costume was bomb. I love it. I'm definitely going to be wearing that outfit on a regular occasion, just without the leaves, although it's a nice touch, let me say. I could not have been happier with how the hat turned out, honestly. Doing that awakened something so creatively exciting in me that I hope that you will be able to see in future projects to come. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. I know it was a long one, so thank you for sticking around. Please comment below what your thoughts were and what else you'd love to see from me. I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.